Hello, hello. I'm coming to you today from the new first floor bathroom and also the midst of a dilemma. So here is what we're working with. Here is the first floor bathroom. The lighting's a little weird right now because it's starting to get dark outside. It's late afternoon and we don't have all the lighting installed yet. We're gonna have a little bit more lighting over here and over here. Hence the beautiful exposed wires. So here's the dilemma. I want to put decorative wood trim boxes onto basically this whole room. I was gonna say back there, but I also want them here and I also want them over there. So basically the entire room is going to get some decorative faux wainscoting. However, this room is very much not symmetrical, which leaves me with a dilemma of how to place the boxes. Let me show you. So the easy part is, well, I say easy, but this blue section, the bathtub nook, is going to be a little bit more straightforward because we're just going to do trim box on one side, trim box on the other side, trim box next to the window. I do need to think a little bit about that because I think we're going to be putting a towel rack here, so that might need to go over a box. But in general, this is not too hard to figure out, I think. The slightly harder part is here next to the toilet. So this space is one of the more asymmetrical spaces because obviously the toilet is not in the middle in any way. So the question is, do we do like one big trim box around this whole space and then just let the toilet be off center and maybe put something kind of where I am to balance it out? Or do we do like two tall and narrow trim boxes, like one behind the toilet and then one kind of here? And that's not even the hardest part in here because the opposite wall is even more asymmetrical. So over here we've got our beautiful, stunning, gorgeous swan sinks, which still need names. If you guys know of a fun name for a swan faucet, because yes, we are naming them, let me know in the comments. But I think that because we're gonna have a big mirror right behind these sinks, I think that we should do like one big box around the sinks. But then there's this extra space over here, and I'm not 100% sure what to do with that because it's an odd space. So I guess I'm gonna go back to my handy dandy method that has served me well in the blue bedroom, dining room, and everywhere else in the house we've been doing decorative trim, which is to get a bunch of strips of paper that are roughly the same width as the trim and then tape them onto the wall. Let's go for it. As a professional acrobat, I should be able to get out of the tub. I'm going to start with the baseboard, the trim that's going to go around the bottom of all the walls. But to do that, I need to cut corners, and to cut corners, I need to use the big scary saw, which Laurent taught me how to do, but I am still terrified. Okay, I've marked the wood. I just have visions of like losing a finger every time I use this saw. It is so terrifying. So theoretically, I tilt it to 45. Oh! And I've unplugged it. Okay, take two. I line up my marks with the laser, tilt it to 45 degrees. That is just terrifying. But at least I seem to have gotten a good cut off of that, or at least a diagonal one. So theoretically we're on the right path. Okay, it's a lot harder to reach back here than I thought it would be. Maybe should have done this before we installed the bathtub. Problem number two. The toilet evacuation pipe is 1 millimeter too close to the wall to get the board in. Go down. If I could just push on it kind of hard, it definitely could fit. Oh, it's just like, there's nothing to push. It's so small. Oh! Oh yeah. Damn it, now I have to glue it. This is not the end of the issue. I think I'm just too scared that if I pull it out, I won't be able to squeeze it back in there again. So I think what I'm gonna do is just like pull the board out from the wall as much as possible and then glue back there and push it back. Look at that corner. It's beautiful. Oh yeah. I am very proud of that. It looks great. So I'm gonna move on up to the boxes on the walls. I've had a small rethink about my process of doing this trim, because I feel like, especially in this space, if it's not relatively square, it's going to be like really, really, really obvious that it's off. So I took some time and I did chalk marks on all the walls with my chalk line. So I'll show you what I did. Basically, I just went around, I measured out the whole thing, and then I used my chalk line to put some lines, some guidelines on the walls. The good news is, like, I can kind of see what it's going to look like now, and I think I'm going to really like it. The bad news is the window is even more off center than I thought it was. I'll scoot back, hang on. Yeah, so if I scoot back here, you can see the window is just really not cooperating with my plan. But I did, if I zoom back in, if I were to put the trim here, right there where that line is next to the window, it's not quite with the faucet of the tub in the center. The faucet's just a tiny bit off. However, I cannot put the trim any farther to the right to make the faucet more in the middle because of that beam. To be honest, I think I'm overthinking this at this point, so we're just gonna go for it. Let's dive in. All right, guys, it's time to do some good news, bad news. Good news is that we've got squares up on almost this entire space, and they look amazing. I'm so obsessed with them. They look so good. There's a few places where like the glue came out from behind the piece I was gluing over here, or there's just a little nick in the wall or something. So I am gonna just do like a touch-up paint later on, but we'll worry about that later. But the bad news is that we now have to figure out what to do in this area, because obviously like just doing another square is more complicated in this area. So here's my master plan. I'm going to try to explain it. You can see that the window, if we look at this square over here, the window is where two sides of that square would be. Like it's touching where two sides of that square would be. And I did that intentionally because what I'm thinking is maybe I can just build the rest of the square. So like a piece coming out here, a piece going up, to make it look kind of even. However, it's even more complicated than that because the top of this square is lower than the bottom of these two beams. So I can't make the square as tall. So what I think I'm gonna do is like have a piece coming out from the bottom of the window so it makes it the same width as the other square. Have a piece going up. When it hits this beam, bring it over and go around the corner of the beam and then go over and go down. It does mean I will have to do a tricky cut right here on the corner of this beam, but I'm gonna try it. Well, this is not ideal because as usual, there's a wall that is drastically curved in this house. And this piece of trim is curving the opposite way. So it's not wanting to glue onto the wall. It's wanting to pop off at the ends. I guess I'm just gonna I think I'm just gonna put it here and see if the glue is strong enough to hold it on. And if not, I'll add some more glue and I'll put tape over the ends to hold it onto the wall long enough for the glue to dry. But the issue is that if I do use tape, the tape's gonna take off some paint. But if I have to repaint, I have to repaint. I mean, it's holding so far. It's been 10 seconds that are good. This is where things go terribly wrong. While we wait in suspense to see if that piece of trim stays on, I went ahead and put chalk onto the part of the wall over the toilet. So let's get some trim up here. I think one box is the way to go. I feel like if it was two narrow boxes, they would be too narrow next to the boxes that I've already done. So we're gonna try for one big box. I've made a bold artistic choice. We're gonna have one blue piece at the top. No, I'm kidding. No, I ran out of wood and I had to use a piece that I painted blue as an extra for this side. But in fact, I'm gonna just paint all of this. I want it to be the same color as the background wall, so I'll hop in there and paint it. Hello, it is editing me from the future, and I'm watching this back as I edit this video. I just want to say at this point, it was so late at night that I have literally no memory of painting this trim. I know it happened because I'm currently watching the video of it, but I do not remember this at all. It's a little bit worrying, I have to say. Good morning. It's the next morning because I wanted to wait until the light was beautiful, the sunlight's coming in, to show you the finished product of the bathroom trim because guys, it's beautiful. I'm so happy with it. Let's go downstairs. I can't wait. I am so proud of myself. I think I did a pretty good job. Let me show you a couple of the parts that I'm the most proud of. First off, look at that corner around the bottom of the beam. Yes, I think I did a great job there. Obviously this beam we're going to finish, but that's a future project because over here, if we follow the beam, there's a little bit down there that's not closed yet because of electrical and plumbing reasons. So we're gonna wait to close that before doing the rest of it so we can do everything all in one go. But I think that corner looks great. I think that this turned out really well where I had to cut a notch out of that part of the trim for the other beam. I think that this plan looks reasonably symmetrical because remember I was worried about making it symmetrical. I couldn't put the trim on the side of the window because that would have made everything like way too lopsided over to the left with the tub faucet. But I think that this plan has worked out really well. When we finish the window, we'll decide what to put along this part. And then we're gonna put like maybe a piece of countertop type wood or maybe a piece of marble on the bottom to make it kind of a shelf. I'm really happy with how that came out. It doesn't make me feel anxious because it's asymmetrical. So I'm gonna call that job done. And then we also had this little part next to the toilet where the plumbing comes out of the wall. This was a hole in the wall actually, and I used the trim to cover the hole. I am gonna go in there with some putty at some point and just like really finish it out and make everything look more finished than this. But I mean, I think that came out really well. And I think once it's all finished up, it's gonna look really good. Yes. It looks so good from the bathtub. Well, I'm very proud of how this has turned out. This is the first time I've sat in this room and it's felt like the room is going to be. So I always talk on this channel about there's a moment in any renovation when it goes from the space that it was and it's like a switch flips and it turns into the room that it's going to be, the room that I see in my head. And this room, this is that moment because I feel like this is the room it's going to be now. There's still a lot of work to be done in here. The next thing I think is going to be putting a big mirror over the sinks. But this is feeling like a place and not a construction zone, and it makes me so happy. I'm so happy with it. I love it. Anyway, I'm gonna finish this one up here today. Next time we're in the bathroom, we'll be putting in the big mirror. We'll be putting up a little bit more trim around the mirror. We'll be finishing up that beam, and we'll be adding some other touches out around and about. Maybe even a shower door. There's a whole drama about the shower door that I'll tell you when we come to that, but there's been a dramatic story behind the scenes with the shower door. Anyway, for now I'm going to finish up and just say if you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe to this channel. Please do also like this video. And if you want to see how the shower and how the bathroom and how everything in here turns out, the way to do it is by subscribing. Please also do consider becoming a patron if that interests you. Our patrons support us so much with all the renovations we're doing here, and we are very, very appreciative to all of our patrons. Patrons get little extra bonus videos and extra behind the scenes type content. So if that interests you, there's a link. Oh God. There's a link. Don't say there's a leak in the new bathroom. There's a link to our Patreon just down below this video, and it's probably a lot more affordable than you might think. I've literally just set it on like the lowest possible minimum setting to become a patron. So with that, maybe I'm gonna take a bath. It's very tempting in this newly gorgeous bathroom, and I'm gonna see you guys next time. Professional acrobat.